What is good? What is good, everybody? It's your boy Cam. I hope y'all having a great day. As you know, the Mavericks had their first preseason game past Monday night, and they beat the Oklahoma City Thunder. But it wasn't too much of a test. The only good player they really had that was just playing was Jalen Williams and Casey Wallace, and they didn't play the rest of the guys like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, Chet Holmgren, Isaiah Hartenstein. They were all sitting out just to rest because I believe they already played that was like their third or fourth preseason game already, but not exactly sure. But it's just best to just rest your players, and it's just preseason. Is all preseason is about like who's going to make the team, and it's see how your starting five looks before the actual regular season starts. But let's talk about how Cooper Flag's first NBA preseason game with the Mavericks. He looked really good. I think Cooper Flag played really well against the Oklahoma City Thunder. But and Cooper Flag at 10 points within 14 minutes. But Cooper Flag did not score in the first quarter at all, but he plays real well without scoring. He's been getting everybody involved. Like, I love his ball movement that he does. This Cooper Flags is he's looking pretty good so far playing in Dallas. Like I said, Cooper Flag is not Luka, and I don't expect Cooper Flag to get triple digits every single game. But they did say they believe that he'll be the next best player from this draft class in 5 more years from now. I think he will. I honestly think he will. And a lot of GMs around the NBA are believing that Cooper Flag will be Rookie of the Year. I think he will as well. You got to think about this. Cooper Flag's going to a team is not rebuilding. He's going to a team that's trying to win a championship. And Cooper Flag's obviously going to be growing and learning well really quickly from veterans like Klay Thompson, D'Angelo Russell, Kyrie Irving, Anthony Davis. It's like, wow. It's just like, this is crazy. Like, and the Mavericks lineup is really huge. You got Cooper Flag at the three. He's 6'8", and you got AD, and that's 6'10". You got Derek Lively, that's 7'3". That's a huge lineup right there. And I think going down in the middle of the season, and sometime in the season, that Cooper Flag will be at the 2, and PJ may be going at the 3, and then AD at the 4, and Lively at the 5. I think that would be really great. Because that's almost a whole defensive lineup right there. But right now, and PJ plays real well coming off the bench. He had 14 points and 14 minutes coming off the bench, and that's really good. He's definitely gonna be one of the. He's definitely. I think PJ will be the best player coming off the bench going into this season. And you got Max Christie that's gonna give you points off the bench as well. Najee Marshall, Gafford. That's going. This is one of the deepest teams in the NBA, especially for defense. And they're saying the Mavericks could be top 3 in defense, and I think the Mavericks could be top 3 in defense as well if they're healthy. So health is the biggest question. But Nico made some great moves with this coaching staff, hiring Phil Handy, Frank Vogel, and hiring Popeye Jones, and basically almost all the assistant coaches have won a championship with their teams, with the other teams that they coached before they came to Dallas. It's like, this is one of the best coaching staff I've probably seen since the Mavericks won a championship in 2011. This is the best I've ever seen. And I feel like it's going to be a good year for the Mavs. But the city is not healed up just yet. I feel like Cooper Flag getting drafted to Dallas helped the city heal up like 50%. If it works out even more, if we win this trade, the city will definitely heal up. And like I said, like Cooper Flag gonna give not Cooper. Like Luka is definitely gonna be giving us triple digits every time he faces us. He will. We'll see if Cooper. I don't think Cooper Flag will be able to shut down Luka. It's like you can't really guard him. But does he play defense? Absolutely not. Luka does not play defense. He may be in shape now, but is he still going to play defense? No, I don't think Luka is going to play defense. I think he'll try a little harder to play defense, but he's not a great defender. Cooper Flag can guard anybody on the court. And then the Oklahoma City Thunder struggle shooting over Cooper Flag. It's like, man. And then I honestly think now we got a big lineup, and there's gonna be other teams in the NBA gonna have a hard time going to driving the basket on us. We're gonna have to force them to shoot. But if they drain the threes, that's when we're really gonna have to like guard up on it, don't let them shoot. But it's gonna be an interesting year how the big lineup is gonna work this whole season, and especially this is gonna be Anthony Davis' first whole season in Dallas ever since he was traded from the Lakers. And this may not be the worst trade in NBA history for the Mavericks if we're healthy. This could be the worst trade for the Lakers because they still don't have enough around Luka and LeBron. Yes, they went and got DeAndre Ayton. Yes, they got Marcus Smart. And who else? They got Jared Vanderbilt. They got Rui Hachimura, Austin Reeves. That's not enough. That's not enough for a title contender. I just don't see. I mean, the Lakers are going to be pretty good. Yes, they will be pretty good going into this year. But the big news is that LeBron James is actually going to be missing the season opener. He has like a nerve injury. He's supposed to be out for 3 to 4 weeks starting into the season, and that's not looking good for the Lakers. And man, when LeBron was posting about his second decision, I thought that motherfucker was going to retire, man. And LeBron tricked us, and it was an ad he was doing for a commercial what his second decision announcement was. So I was like, man, you had everybody fooled up. And then he gets sued for that too, because here's the crazy thing. The Lakers organization was like charging maybe $60, $70 for the tickets, but when they found out LeBron was doing his big announcement, they gonna put up the prices to $450 just in case LeBron announces retirement. I was like, damn, so they really did all that shit for nothing, bro. It's like I said, I thought LeBron was going to announce his retirement. I do think he needs to retire, but if he wants to wait on his son Bryce, he can wait. But I don't know. He's saying he ain't waiting on Bryce James to come to the NBA. I don't know. There's no telling LeBron's being truthful or not. We'll just see. I honestly would love to see LeBron play with Bryce and Bronny, with his two sons. If that does happen, Bryce enters the draft to go play with his brother and his dad. That's gonna be. I guarantee that's gonna be LeBron James' final season in the NBA. And then after that, he's gonna be hanging it up, hanging it up, man. But tonight is game day for the Mavericks as they take on the Charlotte Hornets, and we're going to see how Cooper Flag looks in the second NBA preseason game. But I'll be missing that game because I have to go to work. But that's all right. And hopefully they just get the win. That's all I can say. Just be careful. They just got to be careful with the players. Just no injuries. They're not going to play the whole game, so no big deal. But there's been some injury problems again a little bit. Daniel Gafford rolled his ankle at training camp. He's out to 2 to 3 weeks, so he won't be. Looks like he won't be back until the first game of the year. Brandon Williams hurt his wrist at training camp. He's out for at least this week for a week. So Brandon Williams should be back next week against the Utah Jazz or the Lakers. But I would put him on minutes restriction and don't play him the whole half. And I really want our team to play Wednesday night when we face the Los Angeles Lakers. And I hope Luka plays that game. But if they choose not to play Luka, if they're not going to play Luka, I just don't see the Mavericks playing. They're probably going to sit a couple starters. Maybe tonight they might sit a couple starters. I don't know. We'll see what's going to happen. I prefer to sit. I'll be okay if the Mavericks sit a couple of their players tonight. Just want to save their energy for the regular season. So I know Monday they got the Utah Jazz and Utah, and they take on Ace Bailey. He's looking really good, and he dropped 20. I believe he had 20-something points against the Rockets in his first NBA preseason game, and of course he's talking shit to KD, and like KD is way better than you, dude. And then the fact is Ace Bailey takes a long time to go to the Utah Jazz to meet the team, all because he didn't want to go there. I was like, come on, man. He like talking about he preferred the Wizards, or I forgot where else he mentioned, but Philly. That's right. He wanted to go to Philadelphia. He didn't want to go to Utah, but hey, you gotta go. We gotta get picked at. So you should be glad that you're getting paid millions of dollars to play ball, and then you're living your dream. You're living your dream, man. It's like, and Ace Bailey's gonna be fun to watch playing for the Jazz, and they did say they may be trading Lauri Markkanen, and I think he will get traded. He hasn't even been on a good team yet. I definitely see him going to San Antonio, and I think that the Spurs are going to be a bigger problem if they were to get Lauri Markkanen playing along with Wemby, De'Aaron Fox, Harrison Barnes. This is going to be a little scary right there. And I think that's definitely going to be a playoff team if Lauri Markkanen was to go to San Antonio. That would be really crazy if he was to go there. But now that I've talked about the Mavericks, I do want to talk about some high school football. I usually don't do that, but this is the first time I'm actually going to be doing it. So, and last night, Timberview took on Summit for football last night. And actually, I went to of course, I already said this. I went to Timberview High School 7 years ago. I didn't play any sports there. I did try for basketball, but didn't make the team. And Timberview ended up losing to Summit 29-39. And I want to just take a look at the standings right now. So Summit and Argyle are tied for first place. They're both 4-0. And then Timberview and Seguin are both 3-2. So that's a tie for third place. And then Collinsville Heritage is sitting at fifth at 2-2. The Colony is sitting at 2-3. Burleson sitting at 1-3. Everman 1-4. And Grapevine is 0-4. This is a pretty tough district, but I think this is weird. First of all, why is Everman in that freaking district? I don't like that at all. I think Everman is going to go back to playing Fort Worth teams for district, and then they should not be in that district at all. It's like, why? I don't get with the UIL, man. So like, I don't know, bro. And actually, Summit and Argyle play each other next week, and that game will be in Argyle, and I think Argyle honestly will win that game. Their overall record is actually 5-1 as well. So this should be a good game, and hopefully it's competitive. I mean, Argyle did blow out Summit last year, and Summit did not make the playoffs last year in football. And Seguin, they were actually both going the last game, I believe, 4-3. No, 4-2 actually. So basically, now that basically Seguin had to beat Summit to get in the playoffs, and they were tied for the last spot. And then Seguin won by a touchdown on their senior night last year, and then they ended up making the playoffs, but they came short, losing the first round to Walton Grove. And then now that I talked about this first district, and I want to take a look at this other tough district in 6A. North Crowley is actually 2-0 in district right now. They just had a big, huge. They did blow out Lake Ridge the other night, and Lake Ridge has actually been surprising people this year so far. And they were predicted to be one of the worst teams in the district, but it may not look like it so far. And last time Lake Ridge was actually good for football was the year after I graduated high school. That was the last time they actually were pretty good. And they're off to a pretty decent start going into the season. And Mansfield picked up a win over Crowley on Thursday night. And that was a big win for Mansfield. And it looks like Crowley is struggling this year. They're sitting at 2-5 overall. When they're now 1-2, they're not as good as last year. They was undefeated in district until they lost to North Crowley, and of course that was a blowout. Because I just don't see anybody in this district beating North Crowley at all. And we'll see if North Crowley will win state again. We'll just have to see. They had a tough loss against Rockwall a couple weeks ago, and That was just tough though. Let's go over the district standings. Right now, North Crowley sitting at 2-0 in district. district, and Mansfield's sitting at 2-1, and so his Legacy is sitting at 2-1. Actually, they face each other next week, and that'll be a game for second place, and see who will win that. And Lake Ridge is sitting at 1-1, sitting in fourth place for district, and then Boswell and Crowley are sitting are tied for fifth place. It all's gonna come down to the wire. It's gonna come down to the wire, man. But Texas high school football is real big in Texas. That's all I can say. And let's talk about. I do want to also talk about this other district in 6A. And actually, this past Thursday night, I went to see Martin play Bowie for football, and Bowie defeated Martin 56-43. And I'm just being straight up honest. Martin hasn't been the same football program ever since Coach Wager left. They just haven't been the same since then. And I had a couple family members who played for Martin, and I had a family member actually played with Miles Garrett in high school when my uncle was a senior and Miles Garrett was a sophomore that year. And they almost went to state that year. And they ended up upsetting Trinity in the third round and lost in the state semifinals to Southlake, and that game was at SMU, and that was a rainy, cold night. And I was 11 years old when that happened. That shit was crazy. It's like, and Southlake is a powerhouse football program as well. It's just, man, they get all the favoritism calls, especially when they have home field advantage. It's like, yeah, man. But they got a lot of talent out there at Southlake. And Arlington defeated Sam Houston last night, and that was a much needed win after they ended up suffering their first loss of the season against South Grand Prairie last week. And they had a shortened game against Marcus, the second game of the year, because the rain and the thunderstorm, and then it took too long to start raining, and then they had to call the game. And it sucks to have rain delays during the football season, especially when there's one of the biggest games of the year. And speaking of Arlington, I actually was a volunteer coach at Arlington High for basketball, and I was there for about 4 years, but I had to sit out 1 year because they wouldn't allow volunteers to help out with sports because of COVID, which was bullshit. But I'm glad that shit is over now. But I mean, I stopped coaching just because it was just time for a change. It was just time to move on. But it's all right. But I enjoy high school football and basketball. It's very competitive in Texas. There's a lot of there's been some great athletes that made it to the NFL and the NBA from the DFW. Let's just take a look at some standings. So South Grand Prairie is 3-0 in district. Bowie is tied with South Grand Prairie for first place for district, and Haltom and Arlington are tied for third place, and then you got Martin and Lamar tied for fifth. And Martin takes on Haltom next week and Haltom next Friday night, so Martin's going to have to get that win. And Martin actually ended up losing to Lamar 41-21. And man, and then Sam Houston and Grand Prairie sitting 0-3 in district right now. So no one's out of the playoffs yet, so there's still plenty of time left in the season. So it's all about who wants some more in execution. And Texas football in 6A is just really, really competitive and really, really, really tough. And what I could possibly doing also do is like doing some high school basketball game vlogs at some. I'll probably try to do a high school game vlog for one of the biggest high school basketball games in the year, especially for district, or like who's like trying to get into playoffs or who's trying to win district in the area. And we'll have to see what happens, but definitely still gonna be talking about some Mavericks and it's gonna be an interesting year on how the Mavericks are gonna be this year. And we just gotta hope they stay healthy, man. Like, that concludes my podcast for today. I will see you on the next one, and let's go Mavs, and let's hope they get this win tonight.